barrel. Hewitt will be sentenced on March 10th. A Bangor man has been arrested following an incident at a local hotel. Bangor Police Sergeant Jeremy Brock says 32-year-old Daniel Chapman was arrested after police responded to a disturbance at a hotel on Godfrey Boulevard a little before 4 a.m. According to Brock, people working there called and reported someone threatening bodily harm. Brock says multiple officers responded and found the disturbance had moved inside a room. Brock says officers could hear continued threats of physical harm as well as threats to use a gun. They say they made entry into a room when they heard what they believed to be an assault taking place. Chapman is being charged with criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon, assault, and violation of conditions of release. The man arrested in connection with vandalism at the Burnt Cove Market in Stonington over the weekend was in court yesterday afternoon. 41-year-old Mark Veos is charged with criminal mischief and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. The Hancock County Sheriff's Office says deputies responded to the Burnt Cove Market in the early morning hours of March 1st after it was reported to have been vandalized and thousands of dollars in damage had been done. They say during the incident, Veos allegedly damaged the storefront and multiple vehicles that were parked at the store before brandishing a firearm and fleeing the scene. In court, bail for Veos was set at $1,500 cash. He's scheduled to be back in court in April. Rising prices on mobile homeland are impacting residents across the state. State representatives say Maine mobile homeowners are no exception. Last year, we brought you a story describing how a New York-based investment firm took over several mobile home parks in Waterville, and then residents reported their lot rents had nearly doubled. However, elected officials have since stepped in, passing legislation which leaders say communities like Waterville are now using to help protect their citizens from what they call predatory behavior.
A model ordinance that allows the city to put a rent cap on the lots in the parks. And that is something any town or city council, select board can opt to do.
Leaders say Waterville is not alone. Communities like Jay are looking at Waterville ordinance and state laws to pass one that best fits their community. Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, Maine Secretary of State Shannon Bellows unveils what she calls a new deal for Maine. We'll have details when we return.
I'm an oyster farmer and a small business owner. Graham knows what it means to wake up at 4 a.m. with the rest of us. Sullivan needed a harbor master, Graham stepped up. Lobstermen needed help with their gear, Graham dove on it. That's just who he is. I don't see anyone like that in Washington. He cares, he gets Maine, he gets us.
I love every corner of this state and every person in it far too much to just stand by and watch it be ripped apart.
Graham will do whatever it takes to get the job done.
I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
Driving is what drives me. The road, it's always felt like home. Out here, I can chase the rush, feel the adrenaline, live the joy of the track. But when the day winds down, it's back to real life, back to the daily drive. That's why I choose AAA Auto Insurance. With AAA on board, I earn discounts for driving responsibly. So I know wherever the road leads, AAA is by my side.
Did you hear about SHIELD, that test for colon cancer?
No, what?
It's just a blood test.
No.
Exactly.
So I don't have to spend time doing all that other stuff?
Nope.
No
Bring it back. No
SHIELD is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about FDA-approved SHIELD, from the company trusted in blood tests for cancer for over a decade.
Dorsey Furniture has just purchased the entire Bedding Industries of America 2025 showroom. That's one of America's oldest and largest premium mattress manufacturers. They manufacture famous Eastman House and Eclipse mattresses, as well as over 20 other trusted brands. From that buyout, we've received 40 mattresses, mostly queen size. And right now, everyone is 50% off. Limited quantity, no reorders. When they're gone, they're gone. Dorsey Furniture, family owned, Maine trusted.
Sleep well, my friends.
Huckleberry's Card and Gift has a wide selection of puzzles for the entire family. Local items, including raised mustard and scone mix from the Scone Goddess, jewelry, town signs, coffee mugs, and much more. Located in front of the Brewer City Hall.
You know what today is? It's Tuesday. Just reminding you that whatever day of the week you get her,
We're your go-to lawyers. If you've been hurt, call us right now.
Hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
There's growing fear a prolonged partial government shutdown could jeopardize air travel. TSA workers are entering their third week of no pay, and lawmakers worry the attacks on Iran could pose new domestic terrorism risks if TSA workers start calling out.
Used, I think, is a really strong word. We're feeling like we're being used by both sides.
That is Bobby Orozco Jr., president of the union representing hundreds of TSA workers, including many here at LAX. He says TSA officers are set to miss their first full paycheck soon if the partial government shutdown continues.
The longer this goes, the worse it makes the circumstance. And then people start thinking about, what could I do for another job? What could I do for other income?
This past fall was the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, where TSA workers did not get paid for nearly 2 months. As the military conflict in Iran unfolds, some lawmakers worry this could pose new domestic terrorism risks to the U.S. should TSA workers start calling out. Bobby says TSA workers should be getting paid during a shutdown. He adds since TSA workers thwart potential threats, from a security standpoint, America cannot afford to lack TSA officers at airports nationwide.
You know, you talk about shoe bombing attempts and different things that have happened, liquid bomb attempts since 9/11. So that threat has never gone away, right? And so these officers come in every day.
I mean, that sucks that they're not getting paid. Obviously they should be, but we just want to get home.
Safely, though, I'm guessing, right?
Safely, of course.
Travelers also being cautioned about where they travel to as military action continues.
I wanted to take this chance to speak directly to Americans who are in the Middle East.
As of Monday, the State Department urging Americans in 14 countries to depart now due to a series of safety risks.
Lawmakers on the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing grilled Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. It was her first appearance in front of Congress since the shootings of 2 people by federal immigration agents in Minnesota, which sparked anti-ICE protests across the nation. Noem has faced criticism on DHS immigration tactics and her comments over portraying Renee Good and Alex Preddy as aggressors following their deaths. Democratic lawmakers and even some Republicans have called for her resignation. Her testimony comes as DHS is under a partial government shutdown after funding for the department expired. Democrats say they will not approve any money for DHS until limits are placed on federal immigration's operations. On Tuesday, Senator Dick Durbin asked Noem if she wanted to retract some of her statements.
How did you think that calling them domestic terrorists at that scene was somehow going to calm the situation?
You know, Senator, we are working in those situations where there's a tragic loss of life and that there is something that our agents are involved in, that we continue to deliver information.
Is it so hard to say you were wrong?
We continue, as these investigations continue to go, we will provide, I absolutely strive to provide factual information, and we'll continue to do that.
And when you fail, do you admit it publicly?
Absolutely. We always know that there's room for improvement.
Several protesters interrupted the hearing starting just minutes after Noem's arrival. Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows unveiled what she calls a new deal for Maine. Speaking on Monday from the Maine People's Alliance in Portland, Bellows laid out the 4 factors she wants to focus on. The first is utility costs, which includes capping the rate of returns for companies at 6%. The second is housing. She says she wants to get more people into homes and boost support for first-time home buyers. The Portland Sea Dogs mascot and those who gathered at the State House in Augusta yesterday were standing alongside Maine business owners in opposition to a bill they say would limit how they reach customers online. As our Alex Schley tells us, business owners argue the bill, as currently written, would put Maine companies at disadvantage compared to businesses in other states.
Maine small business owners are speaking out against a state Senate bill aimed at limiting access to people's online data.
Sea Dogs are very concerned about the data privacy bill as it is written. Targeted digital marketing and social media have become a vital part of our efforts to ensure that we continue to reach the key audience members.
The bill, titled An Act to Enact the Maine Online Data Privacy Act, includes data minimization requirements that would restrict how small businesses use targeted digital marketing in Maine. Owners say the current language would drastically affect their bottom line.
Losing out on the ability to target our ideal customers will put our future plans of growth and job creation into question, while also costing us much more money to reach the same audience we are effectively reaching already.
Speakers emphasize they support data privacy protections, but say the details of this bill matter.
I think we can all agree that data privacy is not only the right thing that we should be doing, it's really a dereliction that we have not had a data privacy law. Ultimately, we should be using the model that allows a consent-based data privacy, that you agree that information can be sold to a third party. That's the model that is working in these other states and in the states in the New England.
Opponents argue the proposal as written could put Maine businesses at a competitive disadvantage and even drive some out of state. The state Senate is expected to vote on the bill later this week. In Augusta, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
After the break, do you know the signs of a highly contagious viral infection that mainly affects infants and children under 5? We'll tell you about it when we come back.
Hi. Hi. Chocolate fundraiser.
With the Chase mobile app, things move a little more smoothly. Deposit checks easily and send money quickly. That's convenience from Chase. Make more of what's yours.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
Hello, this is George Whelan with Down East Direct Cremation. Now, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, from the comfort of your desktop or the convenience of your mobile device, you can summon transport and arrange a simple, affordable, respectful, Down East Direct Cremation for your deceased loved one. Just by using the button exclusively at downeastdirectcremation.com. All you need is the location address of the person who has died, their vital statistics information, a valid credit card for payment, and that's it. No need to pick up the telephone, no need to answer a bunch of questions, no need to come into the store, and it's still just $9.75 complete. It's so easy, even I can do it. For more information, visit us at downeastdirectcremation.com or call us at 207-225-5332. Simple, affordable, respectful. The button, only at downeastdirectcremation.com.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
It's a common childhood illness that can spread fast in homes and classrooms. ABC's Melissa Adon has more.
Hand, foot, and mouth disease is a highly contagious viral infection that mainly affects infants and children under 5. It starts with fever, poor appetite, sore throat, and a runny nose, then develops into painful mouth sores and a rash on the hands and feet. The virus spreads through coughing, sneezing, contact with blister fluid, or feces. It's most commonly picked up in childcare settings where close contact makes it easy to pass around. There's no specific treatment, just rest, fluids, and fever relievers. The best approach is prevention. Encourage the whole family to wash their hands frequently, disinfect shared toys, and keep sick children home until they're fever-free and their blisters have healed. The CDC says outbreaks are most common in summer and fall, but cases happen year-round. With this Medical Minute, I'm Melissa Adon.
Multiple development projects are in the works in Waterville and will add hundreds of affordable housing units. According to a report from centralmaine.com, projects underway will yield 350 new units, but many more are still needed. First, the King Street project is a $16 million plan developed by the Kennebec Valley Community Action Program. The article says that project is 40% complete. According to that report, the Lockwood Mill project will convert the former Lockwood Mill on Water Street into apartments. That project will yield 65 units total, and some are already move-in ready. Other projects include SDG Estates, Head of Falls Village, Manor Gardens, and the Washington Street Complex, which will contribute a combined 156 units. Governor Janet Mills joined residents, housing advocates, state and local leaders to celebrate the preservation and rehabilitation of 24 affordable housing units in Orono through the state's Affordable Housing Tax Credit Program. This as advocates are pushing for lawmakers to approve an extension of that program. Grace Blanchard shares more.
As decades-old federal rural housing loans are paid off, state officials warn that Maine is at risk of losing hundreds of affordable housing units to privatization.
And the possibility of unaffordable rent increases was very frightening to all of us.
That was almost the case for a 24-unit affordable housing complex in Orono after the longtime owner decided to sell in 2023, leaving residents on edge about its uncertain future.
The waiting list to get into affordable housing programs in other parts of, either Penobscot County or Maine, there's a waiting list that's pretty long. So I think we were kind of, all very nervous.